Hello gamers, we have an update to the VA situation. Both of the VAs replaced recently have responded to give more clarification on the issue. I've also addressed one of the comments I had in the previous video already. If you are from there, of course you can go back and check that out. I'm not going to retread ground here as this is breaking news, so I want to get this story out so people are informed, and hopefully I do a good job at covering this issue. So starting off, I am going to start off with Nicholas's comment here, right? Because this is going to be a continuation of what he previously said, right? So according to him, this is what I've been quiet about. I'm not SAG, so this would be Screen Actors Guild, right? But what game companies do with AI is an existential threat. I took a personal stand, and by the way, keep it clear, a personal stand, right? This wasn't a part of a union or anything, to ask for protection and be willing to give up the best thing that's ever happened to my personal life. I stand by my choice. So at least, from his statements, is that he personally talked to either it would have been Hoyo or, of course, the company he is with, which is Sound Cadence, about his issues with AI, right? And again, Sound Cadence is intermediary. It's not Hoyo themselves, right? Just so we're clear. And so according to him, he personally said something about it. We do not know the results of that, as not everything is clear at this moment in time. But it is worth noting that he has a personal issue with AI, and I think that is totally fair. But this is his follow-up statement for, what he said previously, his previous claims of obviously not knowing, and of course, not being contacted by either the companies, and so on, right? Additionally, we have the voice actor of Soldier 11 who also made a response, made a thread, and she's also trying to clarify some issues in the comment section below. And so, of course, we're going to go over it. This has not been updated for about an hour from what it seemed. Well, okay, she actually responded 26 minutes ago. So this is still relatively fresh in terms of what is happening. So let's quickly, well, not quickly, but let's, go over this. So, hey proxies, I was replaced as Soldier 11 because I'm unwilling to perform work not covered by the Screen Actors Guild interim agreement during the strike for AI protections, the outcome of which will determine the future of our industry, and any other theories that pop up are incorrect. So before I continue, I do want to point out the whole thing with AI is that they don't want their jobs to be replaced. That's, a very obvious thing. Nobody wants their job taken away from them, especially by, AI of all things, right? Which is a very new thing that does drastically change the landscape of basically everything related to digital things, right? And in some cases, physical things if they build like, Flippy the robot or whatever. But yeah, this is like her main reason that she claimed. And so she should have said, yeah, no, I'm not working for Hoyo, because Hoyo, to my knowledge previously, has not stated anything being against AI. And I think there may have been something specifically them saying that they would use AI in one of their contracts or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I know I probably shouldn't have mentioned it, but point is that we don't have a statement from Hoyo specifically talking about any of this, right? Our only knowledge of what happens with Hoyo specifically is the actual post on the game, okay? I just want to make that absolutely clear. The only thing that we know from Hoyo is this right here from the actual game. This is all from the voice actors themselves. We don't have any contracts to look at because obviously that's all going to be under, under lock and key, right? That's sort of like the lawyer's scenario there. So yeah, just want to make that clear, right? No statement from Hoyo, only statements from the voice actors, right? So she continues. I like to clarify that there's a difference between being struck and not being on an interim agreement. Union projects that begin work prior to the strike and non-union projects that are not struck, but they also do not offer union enforced AI rights we are fighting for, right? So as what's pretty obvious, they want protections from AI and, their jobs being replaced, right? Many actors are choosing to voluntarily withhold work on these categories of projects because we feel it is the best way to support union fight for the protections that are critical to our continued ability to create art we love, right? Obviously. And speaking of which, I probably should, I already addressed in the comment section, but I do want to point out that at least according to him, right, to my knowledge, and this was the comment that I said, as we already read, for Nicholas specifically, he states that he is not a part of the Screen Actors Guild, right? And that he wouldn't have any involvement within the strikes, right? And then additionally, actually, yeah, that's sorry, I was just reading the comment. That is what I wanted to say. Yeah, that he's not part of SAG-AFTRA. So like the theories that people are having of him, with people are like coming up with these theories without actually having claims or like proof of this going on. Like the whole podcast thing. Like the person I commented to mentioned that he had a podcast, which again, according to Nicholas, he wasn't doing. Right. So I'm making this to try to clear up any like misinformation going around about this, right? And I'm trying to do my best on this, but I'll continue, right? I don't want to go into many tangents, right? Just worth pointing out that there have been claims and or statements of people saying that he's been unprofessional and so on. We don't have anything saying he has, right? It's only, according to him, that he took a personal stance against the AI, and that he also was not doing any of those things that people have claimed that he was doing, okay? So I'll continue. I knew by withholding work, it was possible that I'd be replaced, though of course I had hoped they would choose to leave her silent until I was able to return. Found out that the role was recast today alongside all of you. So once again, neither of the companies that they worked for, whatever company she was a part of, and Nicholas's company, neither those companies or Hoyoverse have contacted either of these voice actors, at least according to them, right? So that is something that I do think is surprising as a whole, because typically companies, or at least companies should, right, be contacting you whether or not you've, lost your job, right? That's kind of important, but in the voice acting scene, things like this can happen, right? Video games and video game development is a mess, right? Minor tangent. That's the reason why I think it's important that I cover this stuff, is that I am I am doing game design as my college degree. But I'll continue, right? I loved working on ZZZ and would have been thrilled to return to the project post-strike or within an interim agreement, but I stand by choices regardless of the outcome. All my best wishes to the cast and the production team. Thank you for the ride, Proxies. So, of course, goodwill message, like I said in my previous video. Again, hearts out to the actual voice actors and all the people like actually making this great game. But it does suck that these people lost their jobs. And yeah, you could say TLDR, fuck around and find out. This is what happens when you take the little person and you try to talk back against the big mega corporation that is Hoyoverse, right? Things can happen. Now, it is possible that either the middleman, right? So like the Screen Actors Guild, or like whatever company, or sorry, not the Screen Actors Guild. Not the Screen Actors Guild. Whatever company that she was working for in Nicholas's company, for contacting Hoyoverse, it's possible that they were the reason behind it, or it's possible that Hoyo was the reason behind it. We obviously don't know, because as I said, we don't have proof from them. We only have statements from the two voice actors saying that they weren't contacted by either company, right? So just so that we're absolutely clear about that. Now, she does have some additional comments. I do want to refresh this here in case there is anything else that I want to like see if there's anything else. Okay, does not seem like there's anything else. So I will look at some of these. So this person asked, would Hoyo signing this SAG interim agreement affect non-VAs like would non-VAs have been replaced, right? Any actor, regardless of union status, is able to work on union projects, right? Important to note, anybody could work there, right? Because they contract different people. It's contract work, right? The whole point of the unions is to give the workers protections. It is a simple one-page addition to the contract called Tariffed Hartley. There would be absolutely no need to replace non-VA or non-union VAs in a SAG interim agreement. Don't people get a limited amount of Tariffed Hartleys? Yes and no. It depends on where they live and work. In many cases, I hate Twitter. Sorry. In many cases, the Tariff Hartley or TH makes you eligible to join union. join the union, right? So like if you do have this addition to your union contract or to the union contract, because the company has to sign with the union to work with the voice actors, this addition to the actual agreement would allow them to join that union, right? For the sake of the contract, right? Hopefully this makes sense. I know it's pretty complicated. As somebody who is not an official union representative, I'm definitely not the best person to explain the intricacies. Fuck. I'm dyslexic. I'm sorry. Of that. So, yeah. And then this person just replies to her union scum. Okay. Anyways, I'll continue. So this other person says, sad to see you go, but I understand the respect of your choice. I have a question, not sure if you can answer. Is this tied to Hoyo or the recording studios themselves, or both? Hoyo seems to be a pro VA rights looking at their past works. So this is something I didn't know. I don't know if this person has proof of this, right? I'd very much like to see proof if there is. But as I said earlier, I don't know if Hoyo has actually commented on anything AI related, right? And so, of course, the voice actor responds, recording studios are a middleman in production, so contract decisions are generally up to the developers, but that is very broad, how the industry works thing. Actors are not usually privy to the inner workings of individual projects, right? This makes sense. Typically, contracts are done by, the people that make the money, right? That's basically what it is. The people ordering you around, they're making the contracts, they know what to do. You just got to stay within the rules, right? Otherwise you get fired. That's basically what happens. And so I believe there are more comments that she had mentioned about this stuff. I just want to refresh to make sure it's there. Yeah. So there's one here under a thread. Where was it? I'm going to pause and look for that comment. Okay, I found the comment. So it's another person asking off of her first statement. I'm sorry about the recast. You were a great soldier, 11. I have a quick question if you're willing to answer. There are a lot of union actors working in Hoyo games, which are non-union, as I thought SAG disallowed this, but this seems pretty normal for video games. FI core members of SAG-AFTRA are allowed to work in non-union jobs at the expense of losing some of the benefits of a full membership. And so, yeah, that's that. So, and just so we're clear, other people are allowed to come in, or even some FI core members are able to do it, but they wouldn't get the full union protections that you would typically have it, right? And then this person, of course, mentions, I've heard one of the stipulations of this agreement would require Hoyo to only work with union VAs. And then, of course, the voice actor responds with what we've already been talking about. That definitely not a stipulation in the interim interactive agreement. The MIA allows for tariffed Hartleys to, just like the 2020 interactive contract did, right? So, as I've already mentioned, this allows for an addition to that contract that allows those other people to come and work effectively as union workers, right? They'd get those protections. It would not be in the union's interest to prevent non-union actors from working on union contracts because they get no new members. That is pretty obvious, right? If you allow new people to join, then you'll get new members. It's really that simple. So yeah, and I believe that is everything that she mentioned right now. Yeah, that seems to be everything mentioned right now. It is a very interesting situation of what's going on here, right? And I do apologize if I did go on one too many tangents, right? But this is something that in some ways may affect you if you care about this stuff, right? I think it's important to be informed about these issues happening with, the games that we play, especially when it comes to the people's voices that bring these characters to life, right? It's something that, a lot of people really like hearing, especially with Zenless. They've done a fantastic job with the English voiceover. It's honestly one of the few anime games I actually play in English because they've done such a good job with the dub of this game. But yeah, it really sucks to see that these people were basically let go without any prior warning from Hoyoverse or the the studios, that are, of course, um, contracting them, to do the voices in these games, right? It's a very messed up and complicated situation. And so I'll wrap all this up with a, like TLDR, just to clear off any confusion that may have been caused from me rambling, right? So basically, right, TLDR is that Nicholas comes out with another statement, clarifying more of his stance of what happened, right? The statement is basically him saying that he took a personal stand, so just him, against the AI, right? And he stands by his choice. Do we know this had an effect? We don't know, right? It is possible that it may have had an effect, but we do not know as there's no proof. And this is the only statement that we have from him as of right now, right? Additionally, from Nicholas, he did not know about this information until everybody else found out a few hours ago. And then lastly, from Nicholas, he was not doing any of those things that people claim he was doing, based on his statement on Twitter. So yeah, that's basically that. Nicholas had time to work with them. Again, that's what he said. He had time to work with them. He wasn't doing a podcast. He wasn't doing other stuff, right? And he's just finding out about this information. And of course, he did a personal mention about not liking AI. And he's also not a part of the Screen Actors Guild, okay? Make sure that's clear. As for Chase, according to her, she was Soldier 11, right? And she was a part of the Screen Actors Guild agreement and a part of the strike, right? Based on her statement. They were advocating for AI protections. However, they obviously did not get them and they didn't get called back for, more recordings, right? And then of course she goes on to clarify that she wasn't, being struck, right? Sorry, to clarify that there's a difference between being struck and not being on an interim agreement, right? And that union projects begin work prior to the strike, and non-union projects are not struck, right? So basically, what she's saying there is that the whole strike situation is unrelated to the non-union workers. At least that's how I understand it, right? Just so we're clear, right? We'll use a little bit of Gronk here, right? Yeah, so to address the distinction between struck and non-struck projects after SAG-AFTRA rules, explaining that union projects started before the strike and non-union projects that aren't officially struck, but also the lack of AI protections the union advocating for this, during a strike. So again, this strike didn't have an effect on everything, but that's just a clarification that she's making, as not everybody might have understood what the strikes were actually all covering, right? Because as per what Nicholas said, he wasn't a part of it from my understanding, right? And so yeah, the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike mentioned in the post is a part of a broader 2025 effort to secure AI rights for actors, building on the 2023 strike, where similar concerns about AI revocations of actors' likeliness led to the significant negotiations with studios. So, as we understand, there's been a lot of studio issues going on with Zenless in particular, right? Zenless has had a bunch of voice actors, gone in and out, right? Sakaku's gotten 3 voice actors. Obviously there's Lycan, Soldier 11. Yanagi's JP voice got changed for the live game and so on. Zenless has had a lot of voice issues. Oh, Lucy's voice also got changed, right? So there's been a lot of issues going on here. Can't say for certain if they're all related, but it is interesting to see that this has continued to happen for Zenless, right? And so, yeah, and then what she says is that many actors are voluntarily withholding work because of, the AI protections, right? Because of the strikes, right? They're just not doing it because they, want the protections from the union, right? And then she was also aware of the consequences for, withholding her work, right? That's basically that. So yeah, hopefully I covered this appropriately and explained everything thoroughly. Yeah, that's about it. Subscribe, see me on Twitch if you do, want more Zenless content, all that stuff. All I can really say is if I did mess anything up on reporting this, I apologize. First time doing this. All right. So yeah, see you in the next one. Shout out to the voice actors. Love the Ian dub, right? And yeah, good luck to everybody out there. Hopefully this made sense to you. Yeah. See you in the next one.